Android TV is obviously everywhere at the show this year, and it's a really exciting time for TiVo as well, as we launched our next generation IPTV platform back at CES. And in the Android ecosystem, what you need is the ability to have a company that you can work with who has the experience of being able to launch a full platform. When you look at the developments of Android over the past few years, I think Google's really listened to some of the operators' concerns, and especially with the operator tier version. You can use an experience like TiVo Experience 4, which incidentally has won awards this year from ITVT for being the most innovative user experience, to actually give your customers and consumers access to a fully featured discovery experience that takes into account all of those sources, the linear broadcast, the operator's VOD, the OTT, the network DVR, and brings all of that together into a really succinct interface that allows the customer to really discover content. And I talked there about, obviously, OTT content. One of the great advantages of Android for the operator is that access to all of that content that's available on the Play TV store. In the past, operators may not have been able to access some of those international sources or even some of the local sources, especially from a cost point of view of having to develop a bespoke application for each and every platform. Android gives them the ability to tap into everything that's there already, which is real benefit for them. So I think one of the things that we really need to look at is actually when you're deploying that system, and deploying Android as part of the system, is how do you interface with the back end? So you've got your BSS, your OSS systems, you've got your encryption systems, and you've got things like network DVR. And being able to tap into a platform like TiVo's full IPTV system that gives a common set of APIs for all of those functionalities is really important. And it also allows you to use Android as one of the endpoints, and of course still be able to deploy traditional Linux-based set-top boxes or mobile or even streaming devices. A lot of people are looking at how do I bring in devices that the consumers actually bought themselves and be able to put my experience on top of that. Voice, I think, now is really becoming part of the standard offering for a lot of operators. It's something that we've seen, as we always thought it would, real exciting amount of take-up as it really simplifies the discovery journey for the user. And at TiVo, we're really excited actually because this year we've added 3 new languages to our conversational product. So we've added German, we've added Italian, and we've added Portuguese. And I think that's really crucial because obviously you see a lot of voice implementations out there where they're very basic and very command and control. At TiVo, what we do is we take it to that next level. So taking actually an understanding what a word means, not just having a word in a string of words. Actually, what does that word mean and what does it mean in context? I think if you take a word like play, for instance, then you can have play as a very direct command. Play me this asset. But also, if you look at play, you could have somebody say, when is my favourite sports team next play? Now in that case, they're not asking you to play the last game of their favourite sports team. Actually, they're asking you to look into the future and see when that game is on. So having that conversational piece, especially in these new languages, is really important for operators to understand that that's a crucial piece of the user, understanding the user's journey and understanding what the user means when they express their search term. And one of the things that we've actually seen with this conversational interfaces, in our last quarterly report, what we saw was actually people with access to a conversational system use that system over 24% more than those people who have a very basic voice system. So really validating that it really does bring that extra value both to the consumer and to the operator. Metadata, as we all know, is really one of the pieces of the fuel that is underlying the digital TV system. Without understanding what content is, nobody can search and find and discover that content that they love. It's one of the areas where TiVo is really pushing the boundaries forwards. It's around the platform that we use to create the metadata and advancing technology within that, putting in a lot of machine learning and artificial intelligence and looking at how we can automatically generate content. One of the ways I like to think about metadata is to think about it as an iceberg. So you've got a portion of that iceberg above the surface that is seen by the consumer. So things like the title, the synopsis, the cast and crew, the rich imagery that goes with that. But below the surface, there's much, much more depth and detail that's needed to be able to drive these new conversational discovery systems. So you have to really understand in detail the content and how that content, the mood of the content, the little nuances around how the content is related to other pieces of content. And so I think where we see metadata going is much more into having that platform that we can use to really deliver at scale around the next generation of metadata.